Hi, welcome to Digital Learning. I'm Connie Kolosey, Director of Media, Text, and Digital Learning, and we have an exciting show today featuring some classes that we recently visited at Lakewood High School. And to talk with me about this, I have Alex Heeren.
Morning.
Good morning. And Alex is a Technology Integration Coordinator in the Office of Digital Learning. And by the way, if you see some interesting things that you like and enjoy, you can give Alex a call and he'll come out and help you get these going in your classroom. So Alex, you came to me one day and said, hey, there's some great stuff going on at Lakewood.
Yeah, well, I was down there to look at the way they had their Epson projectors set up, and they have done some amazing things with those. And what's cool is, what's especially exciting for us, is they don't have like special projectors. These are the same projectors we have all throughout the district.
Actually, I think they're a little older, aren't they?
They do have some of even the older ones, right. But what they've done is they've kind of read through the manual and maximized the use of them by hooking them up to the network and letting their computers wirelessly project onto them. So it opens up a whole world of possibilities for the teachers, and seeing the teachers use this in action was really cool.
All right. So we visited the room of Terrell Reinhardt, and he began telling us a little bit about his experience. Let's take a look.
Right now, we started to use the 2-in-1, which is the tablet. It's a computer tablet in one. And we started that maybe a month ago, if that. And it's been sporadic because there was only one floating around for us to try and evaluate. And thanks to Mr. Barnum, we put it in the right people's hands. He's been guiding us through. I've been using the smartboard forever, a smartboard and PowerPoint presentation. And one of the biggest limitations that Mr. Barnum saw was that I was stuck here. I was always stuck within the first 3 feet of the board. That's it. I couldn't move past that. And if there's a student that was looking at their phone, or someone wasn't paying attention, or a student that had a question someplace else in the room, I would have to stop. I'd have to break the rhythm to go and deal with that. And we tried several different ideas. We tried different ideas as far as remote mouses, clickers, you name it. And it just didn't have what we needed to do, because I need to be able to enlarge, mark up, pick items. And it just wasn't doing it until Mr. Barnum actually came across with, let's just get a 2-in-1. And he was able to secure when we tried it. I found my lesson plans easy to modify, so I could add interactive features. I could control the presentation from anywhere in the room, and that meant I could have control of the room as well as provide assistance one-on-one as needed. And then from there, we started to modify the program even more, make it more interactive, so that way the students get hands-on, and it's like, what's the next question? And by tying into maybe 2-3 slides before, you always have to be paying attention, because it may be on that question. And I found that a lot of the students are really engaging with the material. The presentation hasn't changed, but I could add more to it. I'm still doing the PowerPoint presentation, I'm still doing the historical pieces and all that. But now when I do knowledge checks, it's not just put up on the board and look for somebody to call on, and they say, well, I don't know, and that kind of stuff. Now, instead of them having to come to the board, which is, you call someone up to the board, I don't want to go, yes you want to go, I don't want to go. And then they walk all the way up to the board, it disrupts class, it slows things down. With this, the board comes to them. And there's no way to say, well, I don't want to do it. Well, it's right here. Here you go. You got no reason. Try. And all of a sudden it goes from, I don't know it, to give it a shot. Because you got it. It's right in front of you. And at the same time, all the other students are looking at it like, if they get this wrong, I might be next. And you can actually see a little bit of fear and terror as I look around the room. A little bit of fear and terror in the eyes, like, oh, I hope he doesn't see me next. And also it helps if somebody's losing, drifting away. Instead of just letting them go because I couldn't move off the board, I can be right there next to them. Somebody's playing on their phone, I can be right there next to them. Go, hey, I see you. And it's fantastic.
There's one of two things that goes through my brain. It's either, ooh, I know this one, or, oh God, please don't come to me. Most of the time, those are the two extremes. So I'll be sitting there, I'm like, oh, I know that one. Oh, I don't know that one, please leave.
Oh, Mr. Ortego, there you go. All right, you think you got an answer?
What?
Wrong. What? What? This is a deep one, isn't it?
But sometimes I sit there and I'm like, I think it's that one. So it's kind of a range, but once I hit one of those questions where I don't know, it kind of makes me think, oh, okay, I need to pay attention.
It definitely makes me more alert because I know I'm going to have to answer some questions. And then it's kind of embarrassing when you just miss a question in class and you're like, oh, am I going to get it wrong or am I going to get it right? Like that.
Try your luck, roll the dice, takes your chances. Unemployment usually increases during an economic crisis. Unemployment decreases. Read the question, read the answers.
Wow, that's some exciting stuff. So one of the classic problems that a teacher has is they're standing at their front of the classroom presenting, and something's going on in the back of the room. And
now the teacher's there. They're standing right over your shoulder. You know, if you're the kid in the back of the room trying to not pay attention, you're being held accountable. You know, the teacher could come to you at any time and ask you a question, and if you're not paying attention, you know, you can't get away with it anymore.
Right.
Even if you're not the one being asked the question, you could be. So you always have to be ready.
so, you know, one of the things that we strive for is finding systems where every student is required to answer every question. If your question's worth asking, every student should be engaging with it. And this really, I think the student there, Taylor, kind of brought that forward. She said, yeah, I got to be prepared because he may be coming. And also the confidence level. We heard another student speak about, I don't raise my hand because I might have it wrong, but there he is, I got to give it a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, one other thing Mr. Reinhardt mentioned was that being able to do it with this device and this system lets him integrate it into his lesson without breaking his flow, right? He can do it without having to stop everything, having it come up, get out of the board, drag them out of their seats. He can do it real fast, quick assessment, make sure the kids are getting what they need to get out of it, and then continue on. Because it's just a quick formative assessment. It's not some big summative, you know, situation. So
Let's talk a little bit about the technology that we actually saw there. The interactive functions of those projectors, the laptop he was using.
Mm-hmm. So he was using a 2-in-1 with Windows 10 on it. That whole situation would also have been possible. Let's say he didn't have the 2-in-1, he was using just a regular laptop. It would have been a little bit less convenient. You couldn't hold it that way. But he could still have taken it over to a student and had them click on the answer. It would have been the same principle. So it's not required that you have the 2-in-1 necessarily to do that sort of thing. It's just a little easier for it. But the big tool that I saw that maybe you didn't notice there was that he was totally wireless hooked up to his projector. That Epson Brightlink projector that he had there let him walk around the room without having to be wired, that was the cool thing for me.
So, by the way, these Epson interactive projectors are a huge project within our technology referendum, and now we have all of the elementary schools with actual smart boards, and the secondary schools have the interactive projectors, primarily because they can continue to use their whiteboard and then also have that interactive. But one of the barriers that I think he brought up is sometimes secondary kids are reluctant to get up out of their seats.
Right. Yeah, and it's true. It's kind of like pulling teeth sometimes. And so being able to take it to them, it just helps get them engaged. It really, and you could see it in that class. The engagement was huge compared to what otherwise might have been if he had been staged on the stage.
Yeah. So we have some other clips of their rooms. Let's move on and see what else we have.
Just today, what we did is real simple stuff. I mean, today we did some drawing, where it's like, circle the, here's a map, circle the app, circle what we're talking about, or here's a chart or a graph, circle the parts we're talking about. This is all the stuff that's on the EOC, and for them to actually be hands-on with me there helping, and also the rest of the class encouraging. It's like they pay, we got more attention. You're getting hands-on. Using the knowledge checks, right and wrongs, those are simple, but I can throw more of those in. I can make those more interactive. We can do more game style. We can do, we already saw the video presentations. I can actually tie those into the questions. I mean, there's so much. Every single time I sit down and say, well, I'll just do a little tweak. An hour later, I've got 8 more slides. I've got things flying and moving all over the place like you wouldn't believe. The opportunities are boundless. I mean, I can engage however I want to engage. I mean, it's amazing.
I think it's really beneficial, especially with geography type things where you have to circle where somewhere is. It helps us kind of be able to picture and understand how the world kind of is put together. So yeah, I think it's really beneficial.
I guess it kind of helps me when we answer those kind of map questions, because since we're going to have the EOC soon, it's going to I know there's going to be questions on there that involve kind of that map question stuff. So I guess it helps, yeah.
One of the things that we often talk about death by PowerPoint. And so we can make a really boring presentation using PowerPoint, But does PowerPoint have to be boring?
It does not have to be boring, and seeing his class is really inspiring for that point. Mr. Reinhardt would put videos in when he would take the tablet out. PowerPoint has built-in annotation tools. They've had them forever, where if you're in the middle of a presentation, you can circle things, you can highlight things, and he actually uses that with the students to really great effect. So he'll bring the tablet out to a student and say, hey, circle where Egypt is on the map. Circle on this chart which segment of our American history we're looking at where unemployment's at this point. So it's not just like a multiple choice question. The kids actually have to be able to see and visually interpret that data. He's also got, like I said, videos from the era in his PowerPoint integrated on the slide. So just as he goes through, it'll start playing, and it'll start playing, giving the students that kind of context of what it felt like to be there at that time. Lots of very, very cool things, sounds, animations, all that stuff. So it makes the PowerPoint more engaging, and it's not just text. Biggest thing we see is people just put text all over a PowerPoint. Too much text is always trouble when it comes to PowerPoint, and we can do some really cool things with it.
We also have some other presentation tools that teachers can use, and he wasn't necessarily using them, but I want to mention, so what are some other presentation tools that you've been working with?
Well, some of the other ones that we see people use, the Smart Notebook is our other big one we do a lot of work with, particularly for the interactive boards. The reason that's really good is they've got some built-in tools that take that projector and make it not just like a glorified overhead, but it lets you actually use the interactivity to full effect. They've got lab activities in there where you can do quizzes for the students or games with the students, things like that, where you don't have to do any work of putting it together. It's kind of already there. So Smart Notebook's really great. We also see a lot of people use Nearpod as a presentation tool. That's another really, really good one that helps bring the content to life for students.
All right, so Alex, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about the specific technology that we saw here. So I hope that you will stay tuned, and when we come back, we're going to learn more about Windows 10 and utilizing our Epson interactive projectors to engage students in class. I hope you'll join us.